Yeah, hey, welcome viewers to another fireside chat of Jumpboat Consultancy, or JBC as we call it. JBC, in its pursuit to enable veterans for seamless transitioning to corporate world, conducts a series of fireside chats with veterans who have successfully transitioned into corporate careers or entrepreneurships to understand their transition journey, which is so important for the rest of us. This enables veterans to understand the approximate do's and don'ts to talk out a customized transition journey for themselves. We also interact with the HR and business leaders who have hired and managed military veterans to gain insight and advice for transition, as also to understand about the veteran employability in their respective industry. JBC was launched on 27th of May this year. Until now, we have conducted 4 webinars, 5 fireside chats, and 29 individual focused sessions. We have also launched our battle readiness program for transitioning veterans from 4th July, and it spans for 4 weeks, will end uh, on 31st of July. Today, I have a very eminent personality, one of the most dynamic personalities that I have seen, a second generation military officer, a die-hard, hardcore military officer. And now he's a die-hard, hardcore corporate leader. That's the beauty about his dynamism. And when he transitioned from military to the corporate world, all that he carried himself were ethos. Welcome, Captain Shantanu. Captain Shantanu is currently working as director in Pinkerton, India. He was also vice chairman of American Society of Industrial Security, Mumbai chapter in 2017 and 18. He is an alumnus of IIM Indore, Indian Hotel Management, USA, Delhi University, and is also a Six Sigma Green Belt holder. He belongs to the Regiment of Artillery, and he had participated in Operation Parakram. They say the world is too huge, but we realized army and world, however big they may be, they're very small. When my unit was in Punch, his unit was in support to us. So whenever militants attempted infiltration, he was the one who shot them across. Thank you, Shantanu, for holding our hands in war. And I'm sure you'll hold our hands with all military veterans even now. Shantanu started his first job in corporate in ICICI Bank. And he has a wonderful experience of working with corporates, major brands like the ICICI Bank, Vodafone SA, and International SOS. Shantanu, for us all to understand the corporate world, we have lined up a couple of questions for you. Here goes the first question. Tell us about your journey in defense and your move to the corporate world. Over to you, Shantanu.
Thank you, Jeevan sir, and heartfelt thanks to the Jumpboat Consulting team, and especially to you for being magnanimous with your words. Really indebted, and it's my privilege to be here and talking to veterans because this is the way that all of us should give back to our community. And I'm very happy to be associated and being invited for this fireside chat. In terms of transition, as you very rightly pointed out, once I was in Firozpur, and the interesting story is, if you speak to my unit officers or my school friends or my college friends, initially for the first 3-4 years that I moved to corporate, nobody believed me, that nobody thought that I will not opt for permanent commission and would leave army and join the corporate world. But the interesting story is, and I just want to let people know, I was selected to represent RT in the quadrangular series in the game of squash. And while I was in Hyderabad in our RT center and training for it, one of my course mates in the Ahmad was posted there. And he informed me about this course that DGR was setting up and how things are going and people are getting very well placed. And we interacted with somebody who was already working in retail sector at that point of time. So that was the motivating factor. So if somebody tells me why did you leave or how the transition was, it was actually by luck that I bumped into, I got to know of this course. And that is when I started planning. This was around 3.5, 4th year into my service when I got to know about this, and I started planning that how should I transition. With a launchpad a course from IIM was a really blessing in disguise. And I look back in the times when during our times when we joined the army, there was army had this advertisement which said, "Do you have it in you?" And they used to say, "Be an officer for 5 years and be a corporate mogul for the rest of your life." So that is something that I thought that that advertisement is coming true now, and I must move into this. So that is how I decided. I went back to the unit, thought over it, worked around, and then went for the IIM course, met a lot of fellow officers there who were transitioning. We exchanged notes. It was the second course for IIM Indore. I was in the second course with some of fellow officers and some people who are there, like Anuj Bhatia sir was there with me at that point of time. And that is where I think that the transition or the movement really gave us a jump board, the way that you call your consultancy service. That at that time we didn't have a jump board consultancy, so that was the platform for us from where we went there, and that was the diving board or the jump board from where we plunged into the corporate world. So that is how the preparation was. And I mean, when I started off, I always wanted to be in thick of things. And when I correlate things to our army way of life, I always in the corporate, and as you very rightly said, I consider myself now as a die-hard corporate soldier, corporate warrior. I always consider sales and marketing as the para-SF for equivalent to what para-SF does in the army. So we operate in enemy territory. We are para-dropped into corporate services where obviously there's a competition who's operating, and you've got to operate behind enemy territory and be successful with minimum resources. So that is what I decided, and I joined the sales and marketing team of ICICI, and then with Vodafone, and then with International SOS, I was heading their operations, and now with Pinkerton, I'm the director for India. So if somebody asks how the transition was, let me tell you, it was not easy. You've got to rough it out, because when I joined ICICI, there were people who were hardcore MBA from premier institutes, who were doing really well in sales and marketing. And when they started off, I had to rub shoulders with them, learn the tricks of the trade. Just very very practical examples that I would like to narrate, because we talk about transition and we talk that I did MBA and we did this and we did that, but something that I want to highlight, very basic. As an adjutant of a RT regiment, I hardly operated a computer at that point of time. You always had a computer operator who would type things for you. You would just cross it, then you go to the CO. CO would do it. He will play all. He'll paint the town red or the paper red, as they say, and then you go back to the computer operator, crib about the CO, crib about army, and you get the right draft put up for perusal. So when I came for ICICI, I got a laptop, and we used to work a lot on Excel. And my boss was very proficient. He was a Punjabi gentleman, a civilian, a corporate czar at that point of time. And he used to play around with Excel with, I mean, as a back of his palm. With left hand, he could do anything on the Excel. And I used to keep telling him, "Sir, please teach me," because we transition, we work on very major things, but it's a very minor thing, but we don't realize that that's the bread and butter. So obviously, when people move, and I'm sure gentlemen officers who are here on the call will prepare for MBA, will prepare for a lot of operational or security management courses, but the basics is something that is really important. So I didn't do a course then. I just observed him. And within a year, sir, let me tell you, in terms of the speed, the way he used to put up VLOOKUP or other aspects, if not better than him, I was as good as him. And the best compliment for me was 3 years down the line, in 2010, when I went to the unit, the same computer operator was still there, and I had some work to do on the laptop. So I said, "Can I get a place?" And obviously, he opened the actuariat's office. I was sitting there and operating. He was just standing behind me, and he looked at me and he said, "Saab, aap to mere se bhi zyada speed se ab kaam karne lage ho." So that's the compliment that I got, because I used to look up at him with awe. Yaar, ye kya bana deta hai yaar, with the PPT or with the draft that he does. So a very minor thing, but that is how you got to transition. When people say, "I transitioned, I did MBA, I landed a very good job," but these are small little things that you need to take care when you transition, because that will hold stead. You will already be rubbing shoulders. Uh, 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 Abhishek sir has worked in a very good brand. He had people from IIM and IITs. You will be rubbing shoulders. But if you have your basics right, the way that Jeevan sir, officers of your seniority, used to teach us when we were youngsters, if you've got your basics right, it will always hold you steady in the long run.
Thank you, Shantanu. That's wonderful. The basic grassroots tactical training is what wins the battle. So does in corporate. Abhishek, what do you have to say and add on to this? Do the basics take you to the most highest post, or you start from top down?
I think in addition to what Shantanu said, I would like to share my experience. Like, he has worked in ICICI Bank, sales and marketing. I also started with sales and marketing in HDFC Bank. But in what Army has trained us, that wherever you go, do the area familiarization first. Go and connect with people, build relationships. So rather than going to new clients or customers, I started building relationship with all the branch managers. And there was a time when there was a complaint from my colleague sales managers to my zonal head that he is doing business in our area. But then I went back to my zonal head and said that I have built relationships. The branch head would have not given a lead to anyone, because this sales manager is not nurturing that relationship. So that is something which is taught to us in the entire Army experience. Wherever you go, even in peace location or field location, do area familiarization, build your sources, connect with people, and that helps. Sales and marketing, as you said, behind enemy lines, you are given limited or no resources at times, but you have to win the battle for the company, and it is very important to build those relationships. And I'm sure Shantanu will also pledge on that, that all those relationships are helping him till now. That networking helps.
Yeah, thank you, Abhishek. We'll keep this point in mind. Operate behind enemy lines, build relations, and continue. That's exactly what you did in Punch. That's why you could kill so many. Shantanu, the next question to you is, what would be your suggestions to all of us veterans who are transitioning from defense into the civil world?
Great, sir. I think people who know me and who've interacted with me, I'm a great supporter of veteran transition, and I've always supported veterans in a lot of ways. One of the main things, and Anuj sir is here on the call, and he was in IIM Indore, and we always used to talk about this. One of the first things is, when you look for a job or when you're transitioning, get your aim or your vision or your mission right. The way that we used to talk in the Army, since we're all Army men here, we always used to talk about how do we plan the operation. The first thing, when we used to read out of that khaka, when we were training in the academy, or when we used to address the Jawan, it was always, what is hamara maqsad, or what is the aim? So what is the aim? I get a lot of calls, and I'm flooded with calls where people call me up and say that I don't know what to do. What should I do when I leave the army? That is the most confusing question. That is the question that always is on us when we're leaving army. It was same with me. I made a point and I said that I will get into sales and marketing. From my family to my friends to my unit officers, everybody told me that life is very tough in sales and marketing. You will have to do targets. You'll have to be always running after achieving your targets. But Jeevan said, that isn't that what life is all about? If you don't have targets in your life, if you don't set in targets, what are we as human beings? If you just
Absolutely.
want
to absolutely, you hit the nail.
So I told everybody, and I went in. So I decided. So first thing is that you need to see as to what you want in life. You want to get into security, you want to get into operations, you want to get into supply chain. I mean, there are so many aspects that you can exercise, but you've got to narrow it down and then plan and move forward for it. A small example, I'll just say, you have to assess, design, and execute. Whatever that you've assessed of yourself, of the corporate world, and very valid point Abhishek sir brought out here is networking. There are people, there are officers who are posted in Delhi. I belong to Delhi, so I keep going to Delhi. There are officers who are posted in Mumbai. I've been staying in Mumbai for the last 5 years now, and I keep interacting with officers who want to leave army when I bump into them. And I tell them, don't waste your time while you're here. Take out time, come and meet me over the weekend. I will take you to offices. I will take you to multinational companies. Just go and have a feel. We have helped a few of my course-mates or my friends that I know in Delhi, where they've gone to big corporate houses, where they've sat in the office, grabbed a cup of coffee, interacted with people. Because what happens is, it really you really soak into the environment. You feel what is it all about, and then you can take a right decision. Just because you're from army and you've done security doesn't mean that you will fit into security. Maybe you are somebody who might do really well in operations. Maybe because you're from an RT unit or an infantry unit, you've done quartermaster, or you're from a ordnance unit, you might do extremely well in supply chain. So exercise all these options. Don't go with a set mind. So assess. Then you've got to design. When I say design is, how do you work around yourself? How do you, you're already polished. The way, whatever I am today, I obviously, my family and my friends is there, but whatever I've learned from the armies, I till date, I can give you examples as to what has happened, how things have moved, and how people have appreciated what we have learned in the army. And once you execute, we must always remember that whatever management or the corporates are doing right now, army was the basis, and army has always been the basis. Corporate has learned their management from army. So we should never let go of our learnings. We should plan it. We should design our move and then plan accordingly. If you want to get into supply chain, do courses that are related to supply chain. You want to get into security, do courses related to security. Meet veterans who are there in the field of security. Meet veterans in the field of supply chain. What happens is, I get call from my friends and unit officers and course-mates telling me, "Main MBA kar lu." What will you do with that MBA? Do you think that that will hold you steady? Is it something that you want to do? If you want to do MBA, what is that you want to do after MBA? Don't do a certification or join a university just for the sake of it. So that's really important. And finally, the execution. Whatever the first few steps, the assessment and the design that you've done for yourself, and it's not that we don't do it. We do it in the unit. We do it for our boys. We do it for our young officers who join the unit as a subaltern. So why can't we do it when it comes to us? We do their career progression. कि अभी ये course करेगा, फिर ये करेगा, तो he'll become a नायब सूबेदार, he'll become a सूबेदार. We plan that. We do it for our officers. Bios में उसको ये करना है. We do pre-course training. Let's do it for us as well. So when you're in a place like Delhi and Bombay, I wouldn't say that you're in a far-flung northeast or up north, and then when you come down, it's a global village nowadays, sir. Whenever you're on leave, take some time out, go and meet people, interact, network with them, and plan accordingly. Don't just go with the flow and say that since everybody is doing a ACES course, I will also do a ACES course and I'll get a security job in my hand. It doesn't work like that, sir.
All right, thank you very much. So it is something like a review of the situation, or writing an assessment, or what we call appreciation that we did in the army. At the end of it, you identify deductions, options, and take action. Nothing moves unless you do the action. Abhishek, anything on this?
I would just, firstly, I would like to compliment Shantanu for opening his gate to people for helping them. This is one great gesture which he has made on a public platform. I think it will help people a lot. Secondly, I understand as people are in Delhi, Mumbai, they should reach out to veterans who are working. But we, even for people who are posted in far-flung areas in Northeast or Ladakh or anywhere, that's why we have started this fireside chat, so that they can understand what goes through a person when he has transitioned and been successful. So that is one thing. Lastly, I would like to add to what Shantanu has said, that what what is your objective? So I used to ask one question. I used to go much deeper, and I used to ask, why have you left army? Why are you quitting army? Because if there has to be some reason because of which you are leaving, and that should be somewhere in your long-term plan. And whether you have to do MBA or a certification, or you need to get into business or anything, that should help you achieve that what you were looking for. Over to you, sir.
Exactly. Thank you so much. So the initial thing is objective, whatever you can see, whatever you've analyzed, and thereafter start taking actions. Don't sleep over it. The second is something beyond objective. जो हम कहते हैं ना इलाका कैप्चर करने के बाद में आगे जाकर के exploitation and then redesign your defenses. So we need to just continue with the same ethos, with the corporate style, corporate world. Thank you, Abhishek and Shantanu. What so well and simply placed, I call it ADE, ADE, assess, design, execute. So all of us can simply put this ADE in mind, and it continues. Next question to you, Shantanu. Is what are those some of the things that veterans should, or I say must, unlearn before moving to the civil streets, or when they move to civil street?
Sir, to be really honest, in my this is my 15th year, and last 5 years I've been really helping veterans. And why I say veterans is because I'm in a position right now where people join, and people on the call, if you don't know about Pinkerton while we're talking, just Google it. Google what Jumbo Consulting is doing, what Pinkerton does in this domain, especially in security. So I've had the opportunity, Jeevan sir, in the last 5 years with Pinkerton, where I've interacted with a lot of veterans. I think one of the first things is that I want to compliment the veterans. Whoever comes out is already mentally prepared. There are one odd anomaly that I've faced where I've interacted, obviously without taking names, where I have felt that the officer was not ready to let go of the rank. And believe you me, I am not one of those who doesn't use my rank. When I was in Vodafone, when I was in ICICI, I got it approved from my HR, and I used to write my name, Abhishek sir knows, with the rank in the visiting card that I used to share, because that is something that I've earned. Being a second generation, I know the value of this rank. But at the same time, there's a way how you interact. You don't have to carry that baggage of the rank. If you want me to give you a suggestion, I'm not saying that majority of us are doing. Veterans are very professional. Once they join in, I have rarely seen everybody throwing their rank around, but there have been instances. So that is the first thing that one should do. I'm not saying that don't use your rank and just being repetitive, but just to say that it's not about removing your rank. People say, oh, you know what? I've stopped using my rank. It doesn't work like that. You don't have to do literally. You have to be it's the other way around. Here you have to be figurative to say that I've removed my rank, to say that whenever I go, I don't behave like a captain or a colonel. Again, a compliment that I received from, and I've got live examples that I've faced, and I want to narrate here with people. One of my unit officers, when I was in Firozpur, my unit's 2IC, second in command, was there, and his son was in 4th or 5th standard while I was in the army. And 5 years back, he came up to me and he said, sir, I need a job. I've done my graduation, and I was in Delhi at that point in time. So I said, okay, join my company. I made him join me. And then there was some kind of a issue where I had to literally lose my head. That was the expectation, that I blow my top off and scold the team on something, which I didn't do. And he had seen me operating in the army. An army, or it runs in my blood. I used to be very short-tempered. At a drop of a hat, I would use a curse word and be really aggressive and make things do, because I think that's the need of the hour, and that is how the boys used to understand. Because if you, as they say about the Sikh regiment, agar aapne pyar se usko bola hai, he will not understand. But if you fixed a prefix to the thing that you're telling him, he will take it seriously and say, "Acha saab serious bol raha hai, ye kaam karna padega." So he walked up to me and he said कि जब मैं आपको आर्मी में देखता था तब तो आप अभी आपने कुछ बोला नहीं, इसको आपको गुस्सा नहीं आया, अब आप वो नहीं रहे. He told me this thing, and I thought it was a compliment, because I didn't want to be what I was in the army at that point of time. So there are issues where we've seen that people, once they've moved into the civil world, they will address or they will rebuke people in the same way that or take them to task in the same way that they used to do it in the army. So we've got to let go of the rank at that point of time. That is what I want to put here. That when you're talking to them, address it, because it's totally changed. Though we've got lady officers in the army, but here you will have girls who are just freshers, who are out of college, who are in your team. You will have ladies who are very senior in the working in the professional environment. So you'll be addressing everybody at the same time. So how you put across a point is really important. So that is something that we need to work. We need to just polish the edges so that we don't come out as a person with the rank, is what I want to bring. And believe you me, most of the people are already doing it, but that is something that you need to be aware of. Last point from my side on this topic, sir. As a leader, a lot of people talk about in the corporate world now that a leader is a leader only when he's got an IQ and an EQ, which is a jargon which I have seen transition in the last 6 to 7 years in the corporate. And it was a surprise to me, because as an officer, if you go through our OLQs, the 15 OLQs that you have, it is flooded with IQs and EQs, each of the OLQ. So I thought we are the best leaders. I mean, there is no two way about it, everybody who's transitioned. But what happens is when people move to the corporate world, we let go of that EQ factor, because that is what makes the difference. If you come because you feel he's in my unit, you're more associated, and that is where your emotional question or you being empathetic towards or apathetic towards his issues comes into fore. It should be continued in the corporate world as well. It goes a long way. As a leader, if you speak to him or if you get your hands dirty while you're working with the team, for us, it comes naturally. But what people say is when they come into corporate, they feel that, okay, we don't need to put this across. But that is really the $1 million quality that people are looking, and people are judging leaders for that. So please continue whatever that you've learned in the army. Don't let go of it. There is no specialization that you need to do from transitioning. I would say there are only two mantras. First is let go of your rank. Not to say that don't use your rank, but don't throw it around. Don't throw the weight associated with it. And second is don't unlearn what you've learned in the army, because you are worth $1 million. Please use those qualities in the corporate world. And believe you me, sir, there's nobody who can stop us, people from the army and the veterans, once we come in the corporate world.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Shantanu. I draw 2 points immediately. One is that all your life, so far that I've interacted, there are 2 ACRs that you actually earned. An ACR from the clerk who said, sir, you're outstanding now at computer. And this son of a unit officer who says, sir, now you don't get thanks. What wonderful set of compliments, and the ACR written in, say, one-liner, and we can all learn from you. Throwing weight around, brushing the sharp edges would definitely go a long way. Abby, add on more to it, please.
Thanks. I think he has covered it well. I'll pass on this, sir.
All right. Thank you. Let's go to the next question. What would be your larger message to the civilian world when it comes to veterans?
So to be really honest, the civilian world, if there are no, I mean, I'm a civilian now, but trust me, the civilian world is insecure of us. They already have the message loud and clear. They know that once we come into the corporate world, there is nobody stopping us. There is a lot of competition, especially in security. There's a gunner officer who is just messaged in to say that he's got 21 years of service and he's transitioning. You will have a lot of competition, sir, once you come into the corporate world. But we are used to it. So whether I think it's Abhijit sir who sent a message. Abhijit sir, whether it is your ADAM inspection or your firing or the way that we do our sports in Forge, it's the same in corporate. So don't let go of your competitive spirit. I mean, if you ask me what the civilians should, a message is that we are there and we are the best, and we will get the best for your organization. So one of the things is, if somebody asks a veteran, why should I hire? For me, the answer is, it will sum up to the message that we want to give to the civilian world. If you want to have a good night's sleep, a peace sleep, please hire a veteran. That is the bottom line for any civilian. Whether you want him as a CSO you want him as an HR head, you want him as an admin head, you want him as a sales head, anything, or a sales manager. That is the message. You want to have a sigh of relief. You want to give all your troubles to him and ask him or her to solve it. Hire a veteran.
Wow, so well said. So well said. That's dependability or reliability factor that comes in. Once again, as Forge, as Defense Forces, we are barely 1% of India. So in corporate, when we go in corporate world, we go up. We are again less than 1%. And therefore, 1% is no match to a competition with 99%. After all, we are as good Indians as they are. We supported the nation in a different way yesterday, and today we are supporting the nation in a very, very different manner. What is your take, Abhishek?
So I think what he has spoken about, that one-liner, that if you want a good night's sleep, you should hire a veteran. I think it sums up all. And I remember my discussion with a entrepreneur. He's a big entity. He called me up that he wants to hire a project manager, and he wants. I know his business, so I said, why don't you hire a veteran? Because you'll get a 2IC. You can start looking at how to expand your business, and he'll look after your entire execution, project management, and customer relationship management. And he's agreed. So I'll posted some details. I'll be posting more on that. But I think in any business, if they understand the value what veterans are bringing on the table, so veterans can bring huge value. I've seen veterans doing so well, and as Shantanu said, I will not say the corporate world is insecure. The corporate world, companies actually need veterans because they want someone who has a very high sense of responsibility. In corporate world, that word is still not interpreted very well, though it is meant well, but people don't respond on that sense of responsibility. But veterans bring that on the table. That's a huge thing which is needed. Over to you.
Thank you, Abhishek.
Even said before we give it back to you, just a quick summary that I wanted to say, and I would beg to differ here, sir, in terms of India and the way that you said we are less than 1% in the corporate world. But we are far. Why I'll tell you, sir, is the way that we've learned in the army, and I have interacted in my last 8 years in multinationals. I've had the privilege to interact with army officers or men from different countries. When we all get together, whether it is an American soldier, I've interacted with American, Singapore, French, just to name a few. And whenever we get along or when we speak the same language, sir, irrespective of whether it's an Indian soldier or an American soldier, because we are proactive in nature. For us, whatever aim is there, the mission is there, has to be done. It's not there in the corporate world. So if you say that we are, if you compare me, how are we amongst the rest of the corporate world or rest of the Indians, we are far superior in terms of the planning, in terms of the training that we've got, in terms of the aptitude and the attitude that we have towards life is far superior. So it's just about putting in things. And to go back to your last question, sir, one thing that I want to highlight, and it's a very practical situation, please work on your resume. I think Jumpboard Consulting and Abhishek sir, I'm just taking the liberty and over to Jeevan sir and Abhishek sir to talk about it. They are helping people. I went through Abhishek sir's mails and I've shared it with a lot of people. Please work on your resume. Don't spend, when I say work, doesn't mean that you go to a multinational job hunting portal and tell them to make a resume. It's happened to me. I have learned it. And that is why I'm telling you. I gave it to them and they were asking me questions and they couldn't correlate. They couldn't give me 2 + 2 = 4. And I couldn't get the right thing. And I knew that it was wrong, but I ended up paying whatever money at that point of time. The advantage with companies like yourself or other companies who come into this foray is that you feel, you know the jargons, you know the, for Abhishek sir, he's worked in the corporate, so he knows what corporate needs. So please tailor make it to suit a corporate language or corporate requirement. When you send your resume, it's, I don't know how many of us know, but when you send your resume to corporates, nobody is going through your resume. If you think sitting in the army in Northeast, you send your resume and you go through it, there are artificial AI tools that are there. They just go through the catchwords. If your catchword matches, your resume is picked up. And then it goes to next levels and next level. And then it hits somebody in the hand before he reviews the resume. So somebody who's done a quartermaster and mentioning, and it has happened and it is still happening, though the situation has changed. Initially, it used to be all 10 resumes full of Fauji words, and now it is around 5 to 6 resumes, Fauji words, and 4 have become corporatish. So if you've done a quartermaster, mention that you've done maybe supply chain or you've handled a store or something in that way that the corporate can understand. The AI tool can select your resume for the relevant profile. There are a lot of companies, talking about veterans even, so there are a lot of companies from high-end investment firms, banks, retail chains, e-commerce companies who have started up veteran programs. Don't shy away. Even if you, as I said, throw away the rank, if you're coming off as a colonel with whatever number of years that you've got, and if your role says operations manager, please apply for it. Don't think that you will get an operations director or something, because what happens is in a company, in an e-commerce company or a banking firm, an operations manager might get you more salary than an Indian company, which gives you an operations director, gives you perk, but in terms of salary, it's far more lesser than what an MNC gives. So again, one final word for the last questions. It just came to my mind. I don't want to miss this. Please go in for the brand and don't go in for the designation or don't go in for the money, at least to start off, because brand will hold you steady. And again, going back to our days in the academy, whenever you're opting for choice of arm, everybody wants to get into the bestest of the cavalry regiment, bestest of the infantry regiment, without even knowing what that regiment is all about. But the name holds you good and you want to opt for it. It's the same in corporate. If you work with a brand, it will always hold you steady. We were in Vodafone, and when we were selecting people, there were telecom companies that we had blacklisted or we never used to select because that company was not considered to be ethical, or the people that used to come out of that company were not supposed to be really as good as what we expected. It is still there in the corporate. So don't just from Forge, don't get into any company that it offers you, because there are good companies who are running a proper veterans program. There are companies who are just picking up veterans by the dozen. And then once you get a stamp of that company, it's difficult for you to rub that off. So please be well prepared. And these two things I just wanted to cover up from the last questions. Thank you, Jeevan.
Excellent. I think excellent narration. You have actually answered part of my next and last question, which says you have been with American Society for Industrial Security. And from that angle and your experience in the corporate, why should veterans look at security and risk industry as a career option? You did mention of other options, the operations, marketing, etc. But tell us about security and risk industry.
Sure, sir. So when I left Forge, I have never done a CSO profile. If somebody wants to know how a CSO works and other things, I can give you the detail, because as an officer, I take pride in getting the right person for the right job. I don't want to be restricted, or in Fauji parlance, I want to be a general cadre officer and get to know a bit of infantry, a bit of armored, bit of artillery. So when I graduate into a senior position, I should know everything. So if you see, sir, when I started off with sales, I did actually, when you go back, and I don't know how many of us know the difference between sales and marketing, but I wanted to get into marketing when I left the Forge. Marketing is more about advertising, doing brainstorming, working out these nice advertisements with a lot of good boys and girls, smart boys and girls around you. So I always wanted to get into marketing, but I did not have a platform like this or a forum or mentors in the domain to suggest. So whenever I used to say marketing to any campus placement, I was always offered job for sales. So I might as well join. I joined sales and no regrets, and I really like it because it gives you that adrenaline rush. So when you, in the last 5 years is when I again came back to the security domain. And again, what Pinkerton does is we've got around 300 people on various client sites, from CSO to the junior most level, deployed on various multinational clients, American brands. So I've really seen this industry growing. There is a lot of huge prospect, and people can come into in this industry. It's very easy. It's the natural transition, if you ask me. As an officer, you've done this, you've been there. It's very easier. It's very easy for you to correlate the terms. You can quickly come into this, just roll over, change your clothes, get into a suit and become a CSO. So it's very easy. That's the natural transition. So when you come into this, the industry is growing. If you ask me what you want to do, and I've always spoken in the ACES forums and whenever we've chatted, upgrade yourself. Don't go in for hardcore physical security, as Jeevan sir brought out. There is risk management, there is crisis. So these are just different terms which we've already done. It's called crisis and resiliency. There is risk management roles that are being offered in retail chains, in e-commerce companies. So go in for that. Because physical security, and again, it's a word of caution for all of us, has got a glut in the market. There's so much of supply. Every army officer that comes out wants to get into physical security, because I said that it's the natural transition, because you've already done it. And now, and Abhishek sir and Jeevan sir, you will agree that slowly and steadily the market is moving from hardcore physical security to soldiers who are technical. So what we used to call it in the army, maybe a thinking general or a technical soldier, or the various jargons that are being used in the army. It's the same in corporate now. Hardcore physical security is slowly and steadily is going to transition in. So the CSO role is going to transition into a CISO role, where he will talk about InfoSec. So as we've got signal officers, we've got RT officers, we've got infantry officers who've done so many good courses in the army. Army is offering you that course. Just polish it. Once you come out, go into an InfoSec role, do a much better role, which is correlated to the corporate, and opt for it. Do a risk management course. Polish yourself to say that you're a crisis and a resiliency manager, and opt for that. Because what we see is when we Google or when we go to LinkedIn, security manager, our first catchword is security manager. So, and I'm being very practical, sir. The competition there is a Colonel Saab who's got 21 years of service. Now we don't have SS leaving in 5 years. So you've got an SS officer who's left at 10 years. There's a Colonel Saab who's leaving at 20 years. So whom does he select? The worst part is that both of them are going to report into an HR head, or already there is a security head who's a civilian and he doesn't know anything about security. So when there is a Colonel Saab with 21 or 25 years of service goes into that interview, and there's a 10 years Major Saab or a Lieutenant Colonel Saab that goes into the interview, obviously the qualifications and everything may differ and the preparation may differ, but it is totally on that person or that individual's liking or disliking at that day or that moment to whom does he or she decide to hire. So it's very centric in terms of person's, if I may call it to be being blunt, mood of that day to select which person he wants, a senior Colonel Saab or a Lieutenant Colonel Saab. So there is no yardstick. Nowhere do we write. If you see Pinkerton posts, and Abhishek sir and me have coordinated, I will share those posts with Abhishek sir, so that for wider reach to our audience, to our veteran population, they can opt for it. So the situation is there are so many asterisks that are put, sir, the terms and conditions. So I'm hiring for a corporate. It's a very good role. It's around a package of 20 lakh rupees, but they want a Marathi speaking person to be based in Mumbai because of various reasons. They can't let go. They can't hire a Sikh. They can't hire a Jat. I would love to have them, but that is the issue. My hands are tied. So people apply for it. But so these are the semantics that are associated, and people need to not get disheartened, because there are cases where people send in their resume and I tell them not shortlisted. You shouldn't feel that you've not well prepared or you've not worked around it, because there are so many issues. The way that we used to call it in the army, there are community checks. So corporate also has its community check. They will hire a Marathi because of various reasons. The company has to handle political situations. You've got politicians that come up. So they would rather have a Marathi speaking to them in Marathi rather than a Sikh or a Bihari posted there and handling it. So these are the situations that you need to work around and handle it. But security and risk is an open domain. My piece of advice is, and this is my personal advice, that upgrade yourself. Try and not be limited to physical security. Physical security, again, a word of caution. There's glut in the market. We've got a lot of people who are venturing out with the normal service officers that are coming out. Again, the first 3-4 batches of 10-year short service officers have started coming out. So there's a lot of availability in the market. So transition more, you don't need to, trust me, I have interacted with people. If you want to graduate and do courses in physical security, I think people are wasting their time, because you've done everything in the army that it's the best organization in the world. You've learned it from the best. It's like getting out of IIT and opting for maybe a college down south to do engineering again, if you're doing a security course leaving the army. So you graduate, spend that time while you're, when I was moving out, my friend, I am originally from Bihar, so my subaltern used to say, यार तुम बिहारी तो IAS क्रैक करते हो, तू छोड़ ही रहा है, might as well पढ़ाई करके IAS या IPS का दे दे. मैं कहा सर करना ही नहीं है, I don't want to study that much. So you got to, as I said, you got your mission or your what do you want from life has to be fixed. If security is something, graduate to these are the catchwords: graduate for a crisis and resiliency manager, graduate for a info security manager, because there are less Fauji's. And Jeevan sir, as you very rightly said, we are just one person. So if there are 10 people going in for just imagine a scenario, there are 10 people who are sitting for a CISO interview. All of them have done similar courses, similar background, but four of them or five of them have done it from corporate. They've got experience in corporate, but you come back from an army background and you've worked in the army, and now you've done an info security course. Trust me, you will be given preference. Even if the person hires an ex-IITian or an ex-ethical hacker for an info security role, he will make a way, and that is the advantage that people have. Never let go of any opportunity that knocks at the door. It only knocks once. I have, even when I'm satisfied in a company, if there is a role that has come to me for offer, I always go in for the interview. Because what happens is you never know what clicks at that point of time. You've gone in for a CISO, he selects a much junior person in terms of age because he's more qualified, he's got a corporate experience, but he might hold you back for the end of the day and say that, sir, would you like to join our team, maybe as an assistant or to the CISO, and maybe graduate to the next CISO or as a transition plan. So please keep that in mind and don't refuse a opportunity only at the face value. Please go in for it, give interview, interact, a lot of doors open up.
Thank you. Thank you. What wonderful advice. It gives us a lot of encouragement, Shantanu, that not only our field, but upgradation will get us to the right place that we want to. Abhishek, anything to add on?
Yes, so one thing to add on the physical security part, in last 20 years or so, Indian industries have got organized a lot. So there's a lot of security specialists which have come up at the lower level. And security specialists are available at a much lower cost than compared to veterans.
Exactly.
So in that physical security, firstly, there's a lot of glut, as he said, and then people are available at much lower cost. So it doesn't become a very exciting opportunity. So that way, what Shantanu said is very, very right and very relevant.
And just to add to Abhishek sir's points, there are corporates who've got their own training institutes. So they do a 6 months training for people who are, say, an NCCC certificate or SSB rejected, those kind of, because they're readily available crop, they're hardcore, they are wannabe Fauji's, they train them and then they hire them in their own folds, in their own company. So when they come out after their mandatory probation or training with the company, they are readily available in the market. So imagine, so if you see, and don't get disheartened, is what I want to say to the veteran fraternity. When you go in for a CSO of a hotel, there is a person who's available at 12 lakh with this background that I said. I don't want to name the companies, but Abhishek sir knows and a lot of people in the corporate know. So he's available at 12 lakh rupees to work as a CSO for a big 5-star chain, and you are asking for a 20 lakh rupees. So and you don't have a corporate experience as of now. So for him, the natural choice is, and hotels want to save money. It's one of the biggest industry where they save a lot of money. And also one of the things with physical security is that you will always be running against their allocated budget, because you're a drainer on their budget. Technically, I don't want to sound blunt, but that is the reality. You're not giving in revenue. At the same time, I have seen in the last 5 years where people who started off from security as a security manager in the agencies, in guarding agencies, are in today's date above a salary bracket that you can imagine, and they are CISOs. They've transitioned from, because they knew that this time is coming where physical security will be less paid, and a CISO or a project manager or these aspects is something that people are hiring project managers for security team, because security team has grown so big that they need a person to handle only the projects that are being allotted to security team. So these are something that you should prepare and upgrade before you plan for the transition. Otherwise, physical security is always available. It's about good luck, being at the right time, right place, connected with the right people, and you will get that job.
Thank you. Thank you so
I'll
much.
add one more thing to what Shantanu said is about networking. Means every interaction you have means in past 11 years I've worked in 2-3 companies. I have taken a break in last 1 year. But whenever I get a call for a job, I go through the interview process because then I am building that network, and I have leveraged that network many times in my life, in my professional life. Secondly, you may not know because you as a veteran when you're starting, identify people who you think you can leverage for growth or jobs. You're getting a foot in the door. Don't leave it. Wherever you'll go as you grow in corporate, keep nurturing that relationships, because all these relationships will help you. Because Captain Shantanu may be in some other firm heading business, and someday he will remember, okay, I have this role and I remember Abhishek who can fit into this role, and he'll give me a call. It happens. It has happened for me. I got into Amazon like this only. Someone gave me a call, though I went through the interview process, but it was just that because I was connected to that person.
Wow, great. Thank you. It's time for limited time available. Quick questions from any of the veterans, please.
So morning, sir. I'm Major Karan, sir. I'm presently doing my resettlement course at IIM Indore, sir. Thank you, sir, first of all, for the wonderful session. Sir, like you said, one has to pick and choose one. First is decide what one has to do. After going through the process, I decided, I had a background in finance. I decided I wanted to do anti-money laundering and compliance. Now, sir, I have been preparing for a year. Some of my experience I've translated into the anti-money laundering operations. I've done my certification as well. But still, sir, as a veteran, when I approach companies, because we don't have a lot many veterans who've gotten into this side, like maybe you faced when you entered, there's that resistance, sir, to push us towards those roles, the roles where Fauji's are stereotyped. नहीं तो operations में try कर ले, नहीं तो project management में try कर ले. And I'm finding it difficult to in the veteran hiring programs as well, even otherwise where I'm applying, sir. So what would be your advice to me?
So Karan, I have your Abhishek sir, and we spoke about your resume, and let me compliment you. Yours is one of the good resumes that I have at least come across, and Abhishek sir will talk about his experience. So it's very well made.
Sir,
Karan, to be honest with you, I don't think so you should have an issue. Let's connect after this call, or maybe connect on a weekday, and let's talk through it. But what you need to do is calibrate your efforts leading to the right companies. So have you approached an NBFC, non-banking finance corporation, to help you in that? Have you approached did you apply for Morgan Stanley Veterans Program? Did you apply for JP Morgan Veterans Program? So these are just to name few of the companies.
Yes.
For risk management firms, we are not doing it, but we get cases. And what happens is, one of the things that I also want to highlight here is, till the time you don't get anything, don't sit at home, start doing freelance assignments. Sure. So let me tell you what happens, Karan, with us. In Pinkerton, we sometimes do tracing of money. If you can work around and chase the money, it's all money, honey, as they say. So if you can chase the money, it will lead to a lot of things. So if you are into it and you're an expert and you can work around, I think you just need to calibrate to say which companies you need to approach. And how you need to approach. Don't wait for the campus and everything, and start opting for freelancing. As I said, there are small companies who are working, who need support of freelancers, because in consultancy, what happens, Karan, we don't have a bench strength. I can't have 10 people like Karan who are anti-money laundering experts sitting in, but I might get a situation where I need your support. I will give you a freelance assignment. Obviously, I'll pay you for it. What happens is you can then put it in your resume to say that I work with Pinkerton, I work with this, I work with this, I work with this, and then approach the client. Don't rush into it. For God's sake, just because I saw your resume, you're qualified, you've done courses, don't get disheartened and say, "I physical security join kar leta hu." You will ruin your competency. So stay on, stay with it. We will work around, we'll help you transition. But this is a very good topic that you've chosen, or a sector that you've chosen, and I don't feel that you should not get a job.
Sure.
The idea of networking is this, that you should connect. Maybe speak to this person in Morgan Stanley, take 15 days leave after your course, go and meet people, spend 5 days in Bombay, spend 5 days in Delhi, and interact with people. But there are companies, and I'm not talking about Pinkerton, but there are consultancy companies who need people like you who are expert and can trace the money for them.
Great, sir. Thank you.
I'll just add on here. Firstly, we will also take compliments for the resume because we didn't bring that. Secondly, I myself have done a small 2 months assignment with Pinkerton before I was going for MBA. I was free and I thought I'll do something, and I connected with the CEO, country director that time, and I did a 2 months assignment. And I can tell you the experience which I've got. I've written my essay for the Amazon application. So the kind of experience which you get, it is completely different. So as Shantanu is saying, pick up assignments, identify opportunities to network, visit places and meet. I'm sure you will achieve what you want to achieve. But as Fauji, we have been taught, if you confront an obstacle, take a detour. You may not find a job which will get you in a stable position in any corporate, similar kind of industry, in a company where you have similar kind of roles. Start with something, and then you have the flexibility to switch to that role also, because you already have those skills. It is that initially you are facing a lot of headwinds which are not helping you to get into that. But as Shantanu said, you can find out those things. But I will say, eventually, if you will get into what you want to do if you get into a company which is already doing that.
Yes, right.
I can also connect
Thank
you
you,
with one Colonel Anil Verma, who's been with Flipkart and all such companies as fraud manager. He's been their chief fraud manager and all, and he's now started his own company.
Exactly.
And does all these things. So you, if you like, I can connect you with him, and you can work out ways.
Right.
Plus, like Shantanu said, it's a wonderful idea.
Karan, Jeevan sir, just while you take the next question, Karan, just to add, if you are interested in finance, there are procurement heads that corporates look for who have integrity. There are finance heads. There is procurement department separately in big companies that don't look for people who are ethical, who can support the procurement team. So these are few of the vacancies or options that you can exercise apart from anti-money laundering and everything. That's a very good, very niche sector, and there are companies. So look for companies. I will name a few companies maybe whenever we connect in the coming week, and look for those companies. Don't just wait for a settle or a $1 million company to come into campus in a post. There are a lot of companies that you can get placed with.
Right.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Abhishek, anything else before we say thank you to everyone?
No, sir, it was a great session. I think Shantanu was very, I'll say, upfront and Fauji-like in his comments, and it was a very, very meaningful discussion. And I think it will, the fear which we speak about while transitioning, the uncertainty, lack of awareness, the fear which we has, I think Shantanu has set aside those fears by giving that, I think, a Joe's talk which Shantanu has given. Thank you, Shantanu. Thanks a lot for your time. Over to you, sir.
Right now, it's time for me to convey my sincere gratitude to all participants. And I have no words for you, Shantanu. You've been so magnanimous, not only with your thoughts, gestures, but by your actions. The way you are reaching out to veterans, the way you are connecting instead of they reaching you is something for all of us to emulate. And we at Jumpboat Consultancy will continue to learn and imbibe such things to help out our veterans. Our resume building writing has already reached international levels, and Abhishek and his team with Sakshi are too good at it. Then we prepare them for interview and do interview series mock-ups and so on. Will surely enable all veterans to reach their desired goals and objectives, as you mentioned. Time for me to thank you, everyone. Thank you, Shantanu. Keep in touch.
Thank you, sir.
Blessed. Thank you very much. Have a great time.
Thank you, Abhishek. Thank you.
All the very best.
Best of luck to everyone. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Jai Hind.